everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. I am your host, Lynette Jackson, and I am so excited to be back with you. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We have so much to talk about. We have a guest tonight who is going to talk about PTSD and secondhand PTSD. And this conversation is going to be so good. So go get your mama, get your nieces, get your nephews, get your friends, get your sisters, go get your family and get them around. Tell them to log on their phones, log on a computer, do whatever they have to do, because this conversation is going to be amazing. All this and much more.
You're watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand.
About that. See how modest she is, y'all? But let's go. So roasted crickets, I'm like, not eating that.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Every day showing up, even when you don't feel like it.
And now your host, Lynette Jackson.
Welcome back, everybody, to Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. For all those that know me, and maybe some of you, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, I will introduce myself. My name is Lynette Jackson, and I am the owner of Roar Media Group. Roar is a digital marketing company that helps its clients and their businesses speak out loud in the marketplace with stunning graphics, websites, podcasts. We help with podcasts. We do strategic plans. I do it because there was a need in the industry to provide affordable graphics for clients that are just starting up. And I do it for churches, small businesses, nonprofits, startups, you name it, I do it. And I want to do it for you. And if you're interested in having us do any work for you, just log on to roarmediagroup.com. So let's get started. My guest is Terra Cartina, and she is a life coach for children and a family coach. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to some and present to others, Miss Terra Cartina, my sister. What's up, Terra?
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good. Well, it is so good to have you here on the podcast tonight. I told her that she was a money making woman. I was busy. She busy. But she's busy about the Father's business, helping our families and helping children. And as a grandma, a Gigi, a Coco of two sweet little ones, this conversation I really, really want to get into tonight about PTSD in children. It's a silent epidemic. Yeah. And so we want to get right into the conversation. But before we do, I always ask my guests the 4 clarity questions, which are: who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? And Terra, who do you do it for?
All right. So who am I? I am Terra Cartina of Terra Cartina Coaching and Consulting. And what I do is I life coach children and families to help them own their emotional peace and create stress-free family environments. And so I do it because I still am. I'm a mother of 4, but I was a mother of 4 raising kids in a chaotic environment. And because I was doing that in a chaotic environment, I realized at one point that I was stressed out and that I was going to pass that stress on to my children. And so for me, that was just detrimental for me to think about that I was finna create some generational stress for my kids if I didn't get a hold of myself, which is my own emotional peace, all right, and my and pay attention to my own emotional health, and then teach them to do the same. And so that is why I got into this business. Well, guess what? I happen to be a early childhood major, and so I also wanted to pass that on to my students and the children that I serve in ministry. And so that is why I do what I do. And I do it for children and families. So in order to get to the children, sometimes you have to get to the parents and teach them how to do it themselves, to be able to pass on, to just help them calm the chaos in their lives.
Okay, so wait. So, woo. You said so much, and my brain started going, whoa, wait. I have to, you know what? You're that kind of person that when you start talking, I got to start taking notes. No, that's real talk. That's real talk.
I love it.
You said generational. Say that again.
Generational stress.
Oh,
Generational stress.
Generational stress.
Yes.
Let's just pause right there. Okay. I knew this would be good. But you said generational stress.
Yes.
We have a term in my family called firming out. My dad's name was Furman. So if I say, oh my gosh, she's firming out, what do you think that means? That she is acting like he. Mm-hmm. Now, he could tear the world down. He was 6'3", huge, big guy. And a lot of people were scared of him. Mm. He was a truck driver. He was in the Jimmy Hoffa days because he was definitely from Philly. And a lot of stuff fell off of his truck. He was in Teamster Local 107, which was straight mob stuff. So my daddy was a big guy, scared a lot of people, okay? But if he raised his voice, sometimes if he was mad at one person, he said, I'm going to beat the whole family. And so we all go scattering around to try to get out of daddy's way. Daddy was known to be a loud, boisterous, and listen, my entire family is loud. And if you come into a conversation with us, you probably think we're arguing, but we're just talking because we're just loud and everybody's at the top of their voice. But if you kind of go off like Will did, that's firm. He firmened out. Mm-hmm. He firmened out. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that, because we generational stress. I was horrible at this because of what was given and shown to me.
That's right.
And it was passed down.
Please.
Down. Let's start there with generational stress.
So I thought about, I was a very, nervous person. I wanted to keep the peace in the home all the time. So I always was on the go, always trying to fix it. Mm. Well, I have a child who's like that. You know what I mean? And so even her had to look into why is she doing those things. I know why. I taught her to do those things. You know what I mean? And so just think about the different personalities that we have in the home. The father and the mother, or whoever's the lead in that home, the grandparents, they are passing something down to the children that are in that house. They are showing them how we should behave in conflict, in love, right? In communication. We are passing those things down. So if you have a chaotic home, which sometimes I did, yes, we're passing that chaos down. But we don't always think about it, and we don't always know how to fix it. We don't. And so for my business, I focus on emotional intelligence because I think that is the way to be able to teach everybody emotional intelligence, which teaches everybody how to communicate, how to understand somebody else. Teaching them those things and those tools help calm the chaos. And I put all these things in my new book, but these secrets, but that is the way I think we start, with being able not to pass down generational stress. But I was just so afraid that I was gonna pass down this thing where my kids would have a chaotic home. And I was thinking about my grandchildren and my grandchildren's grandchildren. You know, so I was thinking about those people when I said, okay, I'm going to go get myself some help so that I can help them so that they could be able to handle their situations better.
I can think of just, oh my God, I get the number of people that are running through my head now when I see them. Okay. You know, my sister-in-law, bless her heart, she's going home to be with the Lord. But I grew up in the neighborhood with my sister-in-law. So I knew her mom. And so everybody in the neighborhood knew her mom. Her mom ran a speakeasy in the neighborhood. You know what a speakeasy is? I'm just letting out all the juice, right? Yes. I'm just letting all the good. I talked about daddy and the mom, but and daddy on the truck, but a speakeasy. And she could cuss like a sailor, but she was in that environment, right? Where, you know, she's selling drinks and illegal drinks and stuff like that. So she had to be tough. Well, my sister-in-law was just like that. My sister, and so I could see how it continues, that generational curse. If we don't break it, how it can completely be passed down. And so that's something that for me as a grandmother, you know, I said to my son one day, like, what do I want my grandchildren to say about their Gigi? You know, I never knew my father's mother, but I knew my mother's mother. Wasn't a very touchy-feely, emotional person, and that's fine. But she could make, she can cook, she could bake, she could do all those things. So you remembered her for those things. It's like, what do you want your children and your grandchildren to say about you? You're a grandmom. Like, you want them to be like, you know what? It's an adventure. My son says it's an event and an adventure when I come over. And I like it like that. My granddaughter now has her own device, and she FaceTimes me. When I was in Sri Lanka, she was FaceTiming me all through the time, like, Coco, what you doing? I'm like, I'm at church ministering right now. Like, what you doing? Show me what's going on. We have our own relationship. So that's the type of attitude, relationship that I want to leave as a legacy. So we can even leave, oh, Tara, we could even, this guy got revelation, we can even leave a bad attitude as a legacy.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. So you said that you were teaching your daughter to be this way because you were a fixer. Yes. Talk about that. Talk about being a fixer, because I know that there are kids that are saying they don't want to see arguments and things like that in the house, and they just try to fix it. They even take on that burden themselves. Talk about that.
That's right. Because as fixers, you know, we think, first of all, we think we can solve anything.
Right. That's true.
We think we can solve anything and we can fix anybody. All right. And so we spend our time trying to get that other person to come to our way instead of understanding really where they're coming from and why. Where did they come from to be able to come into this world to be argumentative? You know what I mean? And things like that. And fixers decide that conflict is bad. Conflict is not bad. No. Conflict is communication. It's communication. It's just different communication. But we don't like it. We don't like it being aggressive, usually. Yes. Okay. And so fixers try to make sure there's no arguments. There's no loud voices and things like that. We try to fix everything. We just want to calm. We just want it to be peaceful and calm.
We want it peace.
This is want it peaceful and calm. You know what I mean? Like lights out, walk in the dark. Okay, everybody walk in the dark. You know what I mean?
Everybody take their shoes off.
Yeah, please.
Let's drink milk and honey and tiptoe. But that's not reality.
That's not reality.
That is not reality.
And it's not what kids are dealing with today. And listen. It is the reason why they can't handle stuff right now, because we have spent all this time protecting them from all the things that we thought was bad, but it wasn't necessarily bad. It was just different. It wasn't necessarily bad. We have taught them we have shielded them from so much that they can't take anything right now. I'm telling you, the stress level of the millennials is so high. Why? We have passed that thing down on them and not let them see anything bad that they can't handle the slightest little thing. You know what I mean? According to
Wow.
statistics. You know what I mean? And so we have to
And the
think about
numbers
that.
don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Let me just say this. If you have a question for Terra, please, this is the opportunity for you to ask a question. You can see that she's a wealth of knowledge in this area. We're going to talk about PTSD in a second, but we have a couple people that I want to shout out that's saying, great evening. Christine Jackson. Hello, Christine Jackson.
Christine.
Hello, honey. How are you? Pamela Jackson is watching.
Hello.
Denise Armstrong. Now, here's what Denise Armstrong says. We show our children how to deal with life.
Yes. Yes.
And she is so absolutely right. She says conflict is communication, according to what Terra has said, of course.
Yes.
So how do we fix this? We know that this is in, and here's the thing. Some of people, like I had an aha moment. Some people are having aha moments right now. We got people out here watching us, and they're having aha moments about the fact that we are passing on this as a generational curse. Really, Felton, brother Felton is watching. Yay! Our brother Felton. We know Felton very well, but it's as we pass this on as a generation. Let's talk about how to fix it. Like, let's talk about first, what are the signs that you may have a fixer, or there could be some stress in the children. And as parents, we don't think we're stressing out, we just trying to deal with life, but it's being pushed over to the children. What about that?
Well, you can see the caregiver child who's trying to take your role, so to speak. Like they want to. That's the one sign I know for sure. That child that's coming in, that's trying to make sure we eating, make sure the house is clean, make sure dinner is done, make sure you're taken care of. Okay. They're just trying to be the caregiver because they just trying to shield themselves from going, experiencing anything that may be stressful, right? Anything. They're trying to calm the kids down. Shh, hey. Mama's cooking. Okay.
Mama taking a nap.
Mama's cooking. Daddy's taking a nap. Hey, calm yourself. Dad's watching his favorite show. Calm yourself. Okay. They're trying to calm down the whole. They're the caregivers in the house, or that child that's doing the opposite of what they normally would do. If you have a child who's the A student and all of a sudden they're plummeting, you need to pay attention. You need to have a conversation. Have a conversation. You know what I mean? Or you have that child who never speaks up about anything. Okay. So I was that child as a child. I was the quiet child. I never talked about if I was upset or my feelings and things like that. Never. So that child you need to pull out and have a conversation. And so this is the thing I call one of the tactics that I do with the families that I coach is we call it Take 5. Take 5 is an activity that we do. You sit around and whoever, everybody has 5 minutes to talk about the issues that they feel like is going on in the house. But guess what though? This is the rule. You can speak honestly. You can't get in trouble for what you're talking about, right? And when the rebuttal comes, you only have 1 minute to rebuttal. You rebuttal with a solution. You don't rebuttal fussing at the child, or the child gets to speak their mind too, respectfully. I'm not saying they get to cuss you out or say bad things. No, they get to express their issues respectfully. But if you have these normal meetings on a regular basis, then it will open up the communication and everybody will feel like the house is a safe place to come express myself. Everybody.
Wow. So this is called Take 5.
Take 5. You have 5 minutes to express, 1 minute to rebuttal.
Now, I really wish that I had that when I was growing up, because usually this is so amazing. You talk about generational stress. This blessed me. Annette Cloud, I love you so very much. I'm glad you're watching. This is blessing. Annette, we should have had this when we were growing up. Take 5, right? But I wouldn't have had a lot of the things bottled up in my life when my mother was about to go home to be with the Lord, and she and I sat down on the bed in the last 30 days of her life and had a candid conversation. Like, why did that? I really wish I could have said so. And then I'm thinking, should I say these things now? And I know, like, and so it's like that's extra stress. But here's an amazing thing. About 3 years ago, I had a candid conversation with my 2 sons separately. Okay, separately. And I had them to tell me things about myself. Now, look, I wish I had the rule to take 5 years, but I really shouldn't have been waiting till I'm 58 years old or 57, 58 years old to try to get this feedback. And so this is a great opportunity which allows children to have a voice and to learn to communicate their feelings. Tara, this is brilliant.
Yes.
We are going to talk about how people can get involved and get your book, where all this good juicy stuff is. But it's like, I really wish that was something. I'm going to get this book. Well, I already have it. Well, I have it. I was on the pre-list for it. But anyway, I'm definitely going to get one for my son and daughter-in-law because of my grandchildren. But I think that this is really good because kids will bottle up all that stuff. And just like us, if we keep things bottled up at the wrong time,
Right.
at the wrong time, like the Oscars, the wrong time, that thing will pop off.
That's right.
And we will say things that we have to now regret
That's right.
later.
Right.
We'll shoot first and ask questions later. And we don't want to raise children in the shoot first, ask questions.
That's right.
Oh, anybody still alive? Anybody got anything to say?
That's
Because I've
right.
shot everybody down. So yeah, talk a little bit about your book. We got Anita out here, Anita Walker. Oh, you're bringing all CLC. Where CLC is in the house tonight. I love it. I miss my CLC family, Anita Walker. I always ask my grandchildren how their day went because I can tell if they have had something on their minds. Anita,
right.
That is brilliant. Okay, I've got somebody wanting to give me a call right now, but but that is so good. So talk about your book. Let's talk about your book because I know there's some good stuff in that book.
My book is about, the name of it is You're Not Crazy, It May Be Chaos. That's the name, because sometimes we think that about ourselves, that it's us, but it may be just things that's going on in the household. And so it's the 7 secrets of having a stress-free family environment. And so the type of things that I talk about in the book, I talk about locating your chaos. You got to locate where the chaos is coming from. And you really don't know if it's coming from inside the house.
Right. Do you mind if I take
outside
notes, ma'am?
I know, okay. I don't mind. Locate your chaos.
Y'all write that down.
Locate your chaos.
This is class tonight. Locate your chaos. That's good.
Locate your chaos. And then I talk about you being the person to set the tone of the house. Like we just talked about the generation. If you're the anxious person, you may have an anxious house full of, anxious kids. If you are the person that's never on time, that's the rush person, guess what? You're producing those children that rush. And I know that sometimes it happens. It happens now. I'm not saying we got to be perfect because we are work in progress. We are a work in progress. But I'm saying there are some things that we could do with our schedule, with our time management to be able to set the tone of the house, right? And then I talk about communication. We talk big about communication and how we should listen to each other and how we should bring back the art of listening. Ooh, okay, because a lot of times we talk, and even when we're not listening to the person, we're not listening. We're waiting to respond.
Yes. I ain't even heard the words you said because I just got to get back in here.
We're waiting to respond.
And then they just... But no. They're ready to cut you off. Oh my God, that is so good.
But think about how children feel. Children feel like they're the lowest person on the totem pole. So they don't feel like they have a voice at all. I had a client tell me one time, he told me, you know what? These adults out here just think we just little puppets. And they just tell us and move us where they want us to go without us having no say so. That's what he said. And that's what he said. He was 10 years old. He was 10.
Oh,
he was 10.
Oh my goodness.
But just think about the thought that he had in his mind, that we're puppets. We're only here to do what they say without any say so. Think about that mindset in a child's mind.
But why is he thinking that way? Because what has been told to us as you do it as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that the one?
That's one of them. And be seen and not heard. Come on now.
You better be seen and not heard. Get on out of grown phone business. Go sit down somewhere. Be seen. Go sit down somewhere. But we're not teaching them how to communicate. Wow.
Or giving them space to communicate. You know what I mean? Giving them space. You can say, hey, this is for a grown, person's conversation. But listen, I'm going to give you your 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of you just communicate. I used to come home from work and I had 4 kids and everybody had their individual time to talk to me. Okay. And just spill their guts. You know what I mean? But it was time they deserved, right? It was time that they deserved. Because so that's how I can have them. That's right.
Their day has been filled with so much. And they just, if you have 4 children, I had 2 sons. So, but 4, I can imagine when everybody's got something to tell you. Mama got to have them cookies for tomorrow. And you just telling me tonight? I've been through that a lot. Oh, my science project's due tomorrow. Oh, really? Yeah. And I've got to build a solar system. And it's like, well, what you gonna build it out of? Well, here we go to Walmart. Now I got an attitude. Yes. It's like, so they don't know how to communicate.
That's right.
That's right. This is so good.
And they don't always have that, me and the feelings we are best friends. And so we got to give them the vocabulary to be able to communicate their real feelings, not the basic I'm happy, sad, and mad, you know what I mean? But different. I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, they get disappointed and frustrated too. So and then I talk about in the book how to get the family to become emotionally healthy. And that means where you guys can communicate with each other, you can practice acceptance with each other, you can learn love languages. Kids have love languages too. They have love languages too. You're buying your kids all these gifts and they just like quality time. They could care less. They just want your time. That's it.
They just want your time.
And so these are just a few things I put in the book. And then the last one that I really love is about stop trying to save face. Stop trying to save face with these kids and not telling them that we are not perfect and we make mistakes, because they're walking around thinking my mom and dad is perfect and I can't talk to them about my imperfections. But that is not true. We don't have to save face with them. They're family. They're our kids. They can learn from the things that we did bad. You know what I mean? Or the lessons that we learned.
Yes.
Learn from the lessons that we learned from making the mistakes. So we don't have to save face with them. You don't have to save face with your families. Okay. So these are just a few things that I talk about in these 7 secrets in the book.
So Annette Cloud says, I need that book. Felton wants to know, he says, locate your question mark. So you started number 1 with locate the
chaos. Locate the chaos.
Chaos, Felton.
The chaos in your family. Where's the chaos coming from?
Where is the chaos coming from? Anita says, love that title. And she goes, yes. I was sharing with someone the difference between listening and hearing. And the revelation that I thought the Lord gave to me about the two, because I have been having challenges communicating with people and they listen and then they hear. And then the Lord gave me this. He says, when a person hears, it motivates action. Whether it's good or bad, they're going to motivate action. It's going to motivate action if they heard you. If they're just listening, it can go in one ear and out the other. Exactly. So I was talking to someone the other day and they weren't hearing me. They were listening to me. And it was on the subject of love language. They were saying, every time I would think about something, I might go buy this person a gift. And, I think about them all the time. I'll just go buy them something. And I'm always looking and I'm seeing, but that person could care less about the gifts. And they will not be rude to you and say, I don't care nothing about this gift. No, they're going to be polite and they're going to say, thank you so much for the gift. But what they want is you to spend quality time. So you rather throw money at the situation. They don't need money. They got their own money, and they didn't understand why they were having the challenges. And so, like, have they talked to you about this? Well, yes, they said that. Well, are you listening or are you hearing them? Because obviously you're not listening or you're not hearing them, because if you were hearing them, you would understand that they need time, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes a day or whatever, to communicate, to just have you call them, call you. That's what that means more than a purse. They don't want you to buy them a purse. And your way of communicating in love languages is to, okay, acts of service. So I will go buy them things. Now, that person needs to understand that for you, and you need to understand that. But hearing what a person is trying to say to you will motivate them to action.
Exactly.
They will change. And I'm like, oh my God, we have Hope Very is watching. Hello, beautiful Hope. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us on Speak Out Loud. Felton says thanks for that. So first of all, Annette wants to know how to get this book. So tell us about when is it coming out?
The book is coming out in April, and but you can go to terracartina.com and let me know that you're interested in the book, and I'll make sure to put you on the waiting list. But it's coming out in April.
Okay, and so we're flashing her website at the bottom.
Yes.
Terracartina.com. And do they just go to like fill in like a contact section?
Yes, fill out the contact section and just put in there interested in the book, and then I'll know. I'll make sure they get the link.
I'm so super
But you can
happy.
pre-sale. I can send her a link for the pre-sale though.
She is doing pre-sales. When she told me about it, I was like, money gone, because I needed to have this. I'm so proud of what you are doing. You and I, let's tell a little bit about our relationship. So looking at doing some work for CLC, Christian Life Center Worldwide, in Rex, Georgia. And that's where I got to meet this beautiful soul. She was children's ministry director, and we were both on staff. And we both were in leadership, and we had to meet every week, and we just fell in love. And then Terra needed a website built, and so she said, "Girl, I need a website built." And so I built her website for her, and the rest is history. So we've been knowing each other for so long. We have a little special name that we call each other, but she calls me a money ninja. I call her money magnet because she is making it happen. But God's blessing both of our lives in this area. And so that's how but I knew there was something very special about you from the very beginning, from the morning prayer circles that we used to have. And God would speak through you and to us in many, many ways. And you would share such awesome revelation. I'm like, who is this chick? She's fire. She is fire. And I know. And so it just doesn't, I'm not surprised that you're doing so many awesome things. I've watched you develop this coaching business, and I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm just so darn proud of you. I've watched you develop this from the concept.
Yes.
In Starbucks.
Yes.
On Indian Trail Road. Whoa, boy, did I have a memory. You and I sat down and had a brainstorming session, Starbucks on Indian Trail Road, and just talking about where God was taking you, what God wanted to do through you for your business. And I am just super proud of you. And now we're about to add author to your name. I cannot wait to get this book. So let's talk about PTSD.
All righty.
You know, I went on Instagram and on both my pages on Instagram, and I can always share because this particular software does not allow us to be great out on Instagram. So we can be on Facebook and we can be on YouTube, but it doesn't allow us to go out on Instagram. And so I always go out there and tell people that we're going to be over there on Facebook and YouTube. But I have to be honest, I always, until I met you and until you and I had this conversation about PTSD, I always thought that it was associated only with the military.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most people, I think, oh, they just, they used to, this is a bad thing that they used to call it, but they used to call it shell shocked. Isn't that
Yes.
shell shock?
Yes. Yes.
Which is not a very good term to say when somebody's been through the things that they've been through in the military and seen the things that they've seen in the military. But I always associated it with just those in the military. But that's not necessarily limited to that. Talk about that. Anybody can just deal with that.
Anybody, any age can have PTSD because it's post-traumatic stress disorder that comes from a trauma. And so let's just think about all the traumas that we all have been through. You know what I mean? Any age. Think about the trauma that the children are going through every day. You know what I mean? Even dealing with all the deaths that they have been dealing with. Think about the traumas of present and past women have dealt with, and the trauma men have dealt with that, is a little bit more quiet about the men because they don't speak out as much because they have been taught not to. But we've all experienced some type of trauma. And so post-traumatic stress comes from the prolonged symptoms of a trauma. And it can happen at any age, at any time. You know what I mean? And so I was talking about in my Facebook Lives that I do every Friday at 8 a.m., I usually address parents with their emotional health issues or concerns. And so with that, we were dealing with the women, and I wanted to not leave the children out, because the children are experiencing PTSD too. It's about 15 million people that get post-traumatic stress. Well, 7% of that is children. That's a lot of children.
Wow.
7%.
7%.
7%, according to CDC. So the children are experiencing these traumas, and they're not being as resilient as everybody think they are. Yes, they are resilient sometimes. Yes, they can adjust, but the PTSD is still capturing them. And so we have to look at different things. We have to get them help, because sometimes you think that they are acting out, and we just label it ADHD.
Okay. Yeah. That's a new. They got that AD thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And so we label it so fast, but we don't dig deeper to find out, why are they wetting the bed? Why are they forgetting so much? Why are they being disrespectful? You know what I mean? Why are the older children walking around with suicidal thoughts? You know what I mean? Because something else is going on. Something else is going on, and we have to get them to a health professional. But we got to dig deeper as adults in their lives. I always talk about, that I love to say, adults have clergy, Oprah, motivational speakers, friends, YouTube, YouTube, that they're going to get help. Children only have us. They only have the adults in their lives. And so we have to dig deeper to find out if there's a underlying issue for something. Did they go through a trauma that it seemed like they got over, but then you start, it may be weeks later, and you start seeing some of the symptoms. They're restless. They can't sleep. You can't cut the lights out. You know what I mean? One child was talking about that their parents had a break-in, and the child was traumatized from that break-in to every time they heard the garage door, that they were experiencing PTSD every single time.
Well, I want to kind of hit back on something right here and let this breathe. We have suffered so much in the last 2 years through this pandemic, with the number of deaths, the number of friends that I've lost, people that I know, that I'm still kind of saying, wow, she's not here no more.
Right.
What do you think the kids are going to, because they knew these people too. So they knew grandma, and they knew auntie, and they knew uncle. And when you've had 3-4 deaths in your family because of the pandemic, my grandchildren were just like, my granddaughter would be like, you have to wash your hands and you have to put your mask. She was so afraid of getting COVID because of what she heard on the news, the various things. That is a sign or sense of trauma. But just imagine the children who have seen so much. been through so much, been sexually abused, that have been physically abused. That is trauma in their lives that's going to get, and if they don't have an outlet, a person like yourself that can help them walk through the moments in their lives, I can see and understand, and I'm quite sure everybody that's out here listening can see and understand why our children are growing up and doing a lot of weird and strange things.
Right.
It's because of what we've been through. Because if we as adults are having challenges coping with losing our jobs, losing our homes, losing our cars, don't know when we can eat, what we're going to eat, what the pandemic is going to do, and just imagine with everybody at one time being at home. Do you remember when everybody was home? Lord have mercy. It's like, and you don't have adequate space for everybody to be in, desk and internet, and when you're on the internet and I need some space, and it's just so much. So I can see why they have gone through so much post-traumatic, right?
Yeah, post-traumatic stress
disorder. That is so amazing. And so they carry it on and not talk about it.
Right.
Talk a little bit about, I love this thing when you talked about the caregiver child, because I know some caregiver children who want to take care of everybody in the house.
Yes.
And sometimes they have to care for everyone in the house. Sometimes they have to cook the meals, Tara.
Right.
Sometimes they have to make sure that the clothes are washed,
right.
that their sister's hair is combed, and the brother has done his homework. That's a lot for a child to have to deal with, because the parent is incapable, because possibly being sick with COVID. And having to be separated from mom if they're a single parent, but separated because mom has COVID and now I've got to be the caretaker. Just talk about what we can do to kind of help a child out like that.
First thing, I think that being in this time, we kind of are shielding our kids a little bit more for some reason. But it really do take a village, and we really do need to have a support system in place for the children to go to outside of us. Yes. And so I remember me always telling my daughter that you could go to this person or you can go to this person if you have something to talk about that you don't want to talk to me about. Right. And so, but we have to give people those permissions, you know what I mean? Yes. And so, and let the children know it's okay to be able to go outside, to be able to express these things. They need a support system. And so, but you can be in charge of who those people are. You can be in charge of them. You can vet them. Yes. You can vet them, okay? Yes. Because everybody I chose, there were things that I needed them to have. First of all, they need to have a love for children, okay? Yes. They needed to be a child of God because I wanted it to be godly advice. You know what I mean? And so you can vet the people that you have, but build a support system for them. If that child has to be there, the neighbor should be, you know, a neighbor can be a support system for them to help them, you know, get food or, you know, be able to greet the Grubhub person, you know what I mean, at the door. And so we have to build a support system in for those kids. Another thing for the caregiver kid is providing a safe place, because sometimes the caregiver child believes that there's no place where they should be able to express what they feel and that it would be okay. It's okay. It's okay to say you don't like it. It's okay to say, I don't want to take care of my brothers and sisters because I'm a kid too. It's okay. It's okay. Reach out to the counseling center at the school to find out other avenues for counseling. There is resources out there for free counseling. There is resources. We just have to be open to receive them. So we have to normalize that it's okay. You know, I do know that there's some families who don't like the children talking about what's going on in the home because they want to keep it to themselves and keep it a secret. It's not safe for the children. It's not good for you to be supported that way. You know what I
So,
mean?
so how would you, that's good. That's really good. How would you advise a parent who says, I don't want them to talk about my business, and because you know how mama used to say, don't be out there airing our dirty laundry. And you better not go out there and say nothing to nobody about what's going on in this house. How they close their mouth real tight. You better not go out there. So how could you talk to a parent that is having that mindset, and which is stopping their child from getting help?
I just have to be the advocate. We can't force anybody to do
Correct.
anything, but I want to be an advocate for the child getting the help that they need, and them possibly getting the help that, and support that they need.
Right.
And I want to talk about the benefits of, I probably would advise them that if the child is experiencing any kind of depression, that suicide is the number 2 killer of children their age. You know what I mean?
God.
I would put all these statistics out there to say, we have to make a choice if we want them here, you know what I mean? Or
That's
we
right.
want them quiet. You know what I mean? Do we want them present or quiet? Do you want to have an open relationship with them so that they will come to you? Well, guess what? A counselor or a coach can help bridge that gap that you may be having with the communication problem. They can help you bridge the gap. And so I just would be an advocate, but I can't force anybody. I'm not gonna, make them feel guilty for it because it's their prerogative, it's their child, it's their family. But I'm going to be an advocate for both the child and the parent. I'm going to be an advocate for the family.
I had a guest on, Christine Psalms. She was on earlier this month, and she has I think I'm going to have to get the two of you guys together because she has a beautiful program called, she's a mompreneur. Mm-hmm. And I love that name. And so what she is trying to do is help moms get a little bit more me time in. And so, talk about how could a family that you're working with now, you see that the children are the way they are because mom needs a little help, or dad needs a little help, or mom and dad need a little bit of time to work through some comfortability things or some things so that they can be better parents. Because I think it starts with them. I know, like you said, personally, the days that I used to work at CNN, and I was a single parent coming home with 2 sons. And before I could get home, I had a BlackBerry. And while I'm on the road driving from CNN to Riverdale, what's for dinner?
Right.
Like, I'm not even home yet. I have worked 10 hours and put out so many other corporate fires for that day. And then I have to think, oh my God, I didn't take anything out for dinner. So now I'm stressed. And it's like, what's for dinner? Or can you stop and pick something up? And so now I'm finding myself just stopping and that wasn't good. I'm picking up some fast food, throwing it in their face, trying to go in my room and sit down and sit on the end of the bed and catch my breath before I can even come out and address them. So I just throw them food. Go in the room, sit down, try to catch my breath, try to take my shoes off and take my pantyhose off and try to sit there for a second before I could even interact with them. And there were days that I was not good at that. Right. I came home like, Argh! And so I'm quite sure my children had some challenges, but I know then I needed time. I needed a little me time. I needed somebody that could just take these kids so I could go away for a second and catch my head, so I don't come home and want to knock them out. So I mean, because that's the truth.
Right,
so
it's the truth.
How do we deal with the parents? Like you are coach for kids and families,
right?
So do you ever talk to moms and dads together and help coach them?
I do. I talk to parents
so
all the time.
Thank you, Jesus.
I talk about that you need some self-care time. I talk about that unless you are taking care of yourself, you're not bringing your best self to the family. And so in the book, I talk about the fact that I was running around taking care of everybody in the house, that I was letting my health go to waste. Okay. I was stressed out. I was on 10 pills a day from stress related issues. All of them. And I was falling apart. I was having rashes on my arm from stress. So I wasn't bringing my best self, because I'm trying to tell you, with all that medication, you're going to have some mood issues, okay? And just being stressed out, you just was going to be irritable. You were going to be irritable. And so when I realized that's who I was coming home as, I realized that it was a problem. It was a problem. So I had to steal my time. Whether I stole it at my lunch break for my self-care, or after one place we were military family. One place we were stationed at, honey, I stopped by the beach every day before I came home to talk to those 4 kids and give them their time, okay? Because I knew I needed to get myself together. Now I practice things like mindfulness. I do exercises for myself. I come home and have a regimen of lighting that candle and, being able to go to that bathroom and just woosah before I talk to people. I have a regimen and routine that I do now. But in order to bring your best self, you got to take care of yourself. And so it just had to come it had to come to the top of your list of priorities. And so I know that's hard for parents to do, because we're thinking, this is my favorite song, and I put this in the book. I give myself away. We give ourselves away to everybody. We do, right?
Oh my goodness.
We give ourselves till we have given out. We have given out. But that's not bringing your best self to the table. That means you're going to be irritated, like you said, when you came home. That means you're going to throw food at children.
Absolutely.
And that's what they are getting. You know what I'm saying? They get flyby food because you're stressed. And so in order to relieve that, you have to put self-care at the top of the list. And not think it's selfish. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Because guess what? I want to be around for my grandchildren to grow up.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I want to be around for my great-grandchildren. And so in order to do that, I have to take care of myself, and we have to do that. Now, the other thing that you talk about, those meals, I talk about that in the book, that was like nails on the chalkboard for me to hear that line. So guess what? Sunday night, I made a menu out.
That's what I was about to say. Yes, my God, I'm so glad you said that, because I could have solved that problem by being better organized. But here again, I didn't know. And there is somebody listening, and hopefully somebody will hear this and get your book and will say, oh my God, if I just take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours out of a week so that I can prep myself. I was thinking in my head, organization will help us become better people. As professionals, we know if we're organized in our desk and our work is organized, we think better, we produce better, we're better people, we're better professionals, we're not letting things slip. And so when you're not organized, things are chaotic. And so I realized if I should have had you in my life. When I was raised, and my kids probably would have said, Lord Jesus, we wish Mama had Terra Cartina in her life. But if I had just taken some time, and I'm guilty of this now. I work for myself. I'm working from home. I'm on the grind all the time. Sometimes I forget to eat. And then I forget to take out food so that I can cook. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm hungry. So I'll just go and grab something and come back, which may or may not be great. I do the best when I cook my own food. When I meal prep, I keep weight off me. But when I don't, my weight fluctuates because I'm eating this, I'm eating that, and I got a feeling for this. No, if I had cooked, I'd eat what I had in there. So I think it's a big situation about organization and helping parents to know and understand that if they just take some time, the airlines will tell you to put the mask on you first before you put it on a weaker person. And sometimes you would think like, that just sounds crazy. But we're not super people, and we're not. We think we are because society and the media has told us that we are every woman. We can fry up the bacon and put it in the pan and never let you forget you a man, baby. You gonna forget you a man tonight because Mama needs to go there and take a bath and light her candles and just have some quiet time. But I remember raising my sons and then caring for my mother. So think about all the people who now have had to have that other element of bringing their elderly parent into their home, which completely changes the dynamic of the home structure. Because when mama comes home, she thinks she owns everything. She thinks because she the mama, like she can tell you what to do. And it's like, no, mama, we don't do that. This is what we do. So that's a whole process. But you've got a lot of blended families today. And so this is so good, Terra. This is so good. What's coming up with you? Tell us what's coming up. What you got going on? You talked about Friday mornings. What?
Okay. What's coming up is I do have a workshop. It's called Stepping on the Scene with Self-Esteem, Self-Confidence, and Self-Care for Children. That's coming up April 30th.
April 30th. Okay.
Yes. So that's coming up.
And how can a person get registered for that?
It'll be on my website, Terra Cartina, Coaching and Consulting. The flyer will be up tonight, actually.
Okay. Very, very good. So you've got a seminar. It's a master class or a seminar. Or
it's a kids workshop. It's a kids workshop. Yes.
And so who's going to come? Parents and children can come?
It is for the children, but the parents can listen in so they can get the idea so they can carry it on past the workshop.
I love that.
So parents can be online too.
So what else is going on? I know you go live on Friday morning. Talk about your Friday morning sessions because I see you out there, girl.
Friday mornings is In Our Feelings Friday, and we are in our feelings about the different things that affect our feelings as parents. And so I usually like to talk to my parents on Friday mornings at 8 a.m. because it's just they're dealing with a vast number of things in their feelings about, and sometimes they can't express it. So we come together, I talk about a particular thing, and they can express themselves live at 8 a.m. on Friday.
Okay, so she has a new book out, everybody.
Yes.
It's coming out in April next month. And we cannot wait for this book, Miss Terra Cartina. I'm so proud of you, but we cannot wait for this book. You can go onto her website, terracartina.com, go to the contact section, fill that out and say, I want a pre-ordered autographed copy of the book. I need that. I am super, super proud of you. And before we go, I just want you to look in this camera and talk to some families that are out here, because we know there may not be any children out here listening to this right now. But if there are, listen up, because Miss Terra got a lot of good stuff to say. But there may be, there's some parents out here that are talking to them that are exhausted. That came home tonight, that have this on probably while they trying to cook dinner and get the baths and start this whole routine. What would you say to them right now?
First, I would have to commend them for doing your best. You know, as parents, there's no manual that will be completely give us all the answers. It's not a manual that'll give us all the answers. And so what we do is get the information that we have at our fingertips, and we just apply it, right? And we just change the lives that we can from the inside out. And so if we want to stop generational stress and calm the chaos in our lives, we have to apply it to ourselves first. And so I just advise you guys to get the information that you need to give your family the best chance at living healthier and happier together. And so that's what I do as Terra Cartina, life coach for kids and families, is I provide you with those information and I help you to apply those things. So sometimes you just don't have the strategy to apply it. Well, I give you that. And so I thank you for listening today. Like I said, you are doing a phenomenal job. You're doing a phenomenal job. I don't want you to forget that, right? But we can always grow. Because we want to make sure our family gets the best of us and the best life has to offer.
Wow. Spoken like a beautiful, beautiful soul that you are. Terra, thank you so much. I cannot wait to get the book, and I'm quite sure everyone else can't wait. We're going to promote this book. We're going to promote it out. I've got a couple ideas running through my brain.
I love it.
Based on these things that you said out here. I got a few things for you, Mama. So we need to get together and have us a nice little strategy session. I am super, super proud of you. I love you so very much. I thank God for you. And I thank God that you obeyed the assignment.
Yeah.
Because on the other side of your obedience, we're delivering our future.
Yes.
And our future are our children. Thank you so much, Terra, for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate everybody that's listening. I appreciate you for always being in my corner, always, pushing me up.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love.
Oh, man, it's, you know what? It's a pleasure to have been in the beginning times with you and helping you get that wind under your sail to get out, because I always believed in you, and I always believed that what you were doing, there was a big need for it. And so I'm grateful that you did it. You did it. You did the work. I just was trying to help you, but you did the work. And I love you for that. God bless you, Terra. All right, everyone. We thank you so much for joining us. I told you this was going to be an amazing conversation. So I thank you all for joining us on Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand. You heard the great Miss Terra, awesome Katina, talk about what she is about to pull together in terms of a seminar for kids, and then her beautiful new book. And Anita says she will be ordering that book. That's right. Everybody needs to order this book. It's for your life, and it's for our future, which is our children. I am so excited that you join me. If you have any questions, if you want to be a guest on Speak Out Loud, this is the story behind the brand. And so there's always a story about a person's why. And we heard Terra's story tonight about why she does and why she is doing what she is doing. So if you're interested, just log on to Roar Media Group and go to our comment section, leave us a comment and let us know that you want to be on the show. Well, until next week, remember, God loves you, I love you, but hey, most importantly, learn to love yourself.
You've been watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand, with your host, Lynette Jackson. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And until next week, don't forget to use your voice to speak out loud.